I'm gonna stay quiet on that now.
Announcing from the lectern because
Yes.
these need to be pointing towards
I
you.
know, but see, when I was turning the page, that's why I did that. So I
That
got
works.
enough room? Okay. This has to be changed. Because when Jacqueline comes up, I have to go back up somehow and reference. Let me look at top of the word. No, he already changed it to the right one. Yeah, yeah. Are we starting at 9? Are we starting? Hi. Thank you. Should we start? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I only know if you hear me if you respond back to me. So, good morning, everyone. We're back again. My name is Kim Holmes, and I serve as the Assistant Commissioner for the Department of Community Affairs. It's great to see you here once again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you should give yourselves a round of applause because you're here. You made it, you made it. We're back once again, once again. We welcome you to the Governor's Conference on Housing and Economic Development, which is in its 27th year. That's round for applause right there. Over its nearly 3 decades of existence, the conference has become a major industry event for affordable housing and economic development professionals who are looking to exchange ideas, create partnerships, and collaborate on projects that benefit communities. For this reason, we like to say that this is a conference held by practitioners for practitioners. Jacqueline Suarez is currently serving as the acting commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs. She's one of the chief practitioners of the community engagement and is a woman who I have the pleasure of introducing. Earlier this month, Governor Murphy nominated her to be the next DCA commissioner after the passing of Lieutenant Governor. Pending her confirmation by the Senate, Jacqueline will become the first Hispanic commissioner to lead DCA. Jacqueline is no stranger to DCA and has served the department with distinction throughout her entire career. Since January of 2021, she has led DCA's Division of Local Government Services, which some might argue is among the hardest jobs in state government because it involves working in a day in, day out to uphold financial integrity of all government units in New Jersey, including reviewing and approving their budgets. In her role as the Director of Local Government Services, Jacqueline also led the state's ongoing efforts to strengthen the City of Atlantic City's municipal finance budget and local government operations. She's worked incredibly hard to keep local governments, the cities, towns, and boroughs across New Jersey running and providing public services even during the pandemic. It can be a thankless job, but she did it with intelligence and fortitude, attributes of our beloved Lieutenant Governor, Sheila Oliver. And she's recognized, and the Lieutenant Governor asked her to come back to DCA to lead local government services. Earlier in her career, Jacqueline was DCA's legislative liaison. In that role, she was the department's point person for all communication with the state legislature. She was also responsible for drafting bill language, leading the implementation of newly signed legislation at DCA, and helping to review and advise on various orders, settlements, and other matters within the department. In between her time at DCA, Jacqueline served as associate counsel in the governor's office with a focus on issues related to the Department of Community Affairs, Human Services, Children and Families, and the Administrative Office of the Courts. As associate counsel, she helped advance Governor Murphy's public policy agenda, including the state's COVID response policies, such as eviction moratorium. Jacqueline is a New Jersey native who earned her Juris Doctorate from Rutgers Law School, Camden, and her bachelor's degree in communications, legal institutions, economics, and government from American University in Washington, D.C. She is a member of both the New Jersey and New York Bar Associations. She's also a member of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey. As she takes the helm at DCA, the entire staff looks forward to serving with her to advance the department's mission of providing residents, local governments, businesses, and community development organizations with financial support, administrative guidance, and technical assistance to help improve the quality of life for New Jersey families. Why don't you give a round of applause for our DCA Acting Commissioner, Jacqueline Suarez.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And Kim, thank you very much for the warm introduction. I am very excited to be here today for the Governor's Conference on Housing and Economic Development, and I am happy to see so many people at this year's event. On behalf of the Department of Community Affairs and the other conference hosts, which include the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency, the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, and the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, we welcome you to what promises to be an instructive and motivating gathering. Fingers crossed. But before I talk more about the conference, I do want to express my thanks and appreciation to DCA Assistant Commissioner Kim Holmes. When the Lieutenant Governor Oliver passed away almost 2 months ago, and it's kind of hard to believe that that's already been that long, Kim stepped up to serve as DCA Acting Commissioner. And when staff was grieving the loss of our Lieutenant Governor Oliver, who served as our commissioner, and as a tremendous advocate for affordable housing and community services in this state, Kim ensured that this conference continued moving forward. She ensured that it lived up to the importance that it held to our beloved mentor and leader, Lieutenant Governor Oliver. Each of the sponsoring agencies are grateful for all Kim has done in recent months to organize this conference, and we are incredibly thankful to her for coordinating among DCA, HMFA, NJRA, and EDA to bring this conference together. I personally want to not only thank you, but I very much look forward to continuing our work together and our teamwork in the coming months. So thank you, Kim. So much work has gone into this year's conference, as it does every year, and we are encouraging all of you to take full advantage of the opportunities available. We believe the compelling panels, keynote speakers, and earnest discussions will spark ideas on ways to create housing that people can afford and economic development that works for everyone. The conference will also address important issues such as eviction and homelessness prevention, neighborhood revitalization, small business investment, and job creation. So please, meet new people, re-engage with old colleagues, and explore the information being presented. Connections made at the conference could lead to impactful collaborations on future projects that are aimed at equitable growth and development across our state. Equitable investment, particularly in affordable housing, is a hallmark of Governor Murphy's administration and something that the Lieutenant Governor championed. She wasn't afraid to take an unpopular position when it meant doing what's right, and in this context, it's providing housing to those who need it most. The Murphy administration recognizes that great access to stable, quality housing that is affordable is absolutely essential to creating a stronger and fair New Jersey for as many New Jerseyans as possible. And this administration also understands that greater access to home ownership for New Jerseyans is one of the most important drivers of wealth creation. And we are honing in on the initiatives and working with the legislature on programs that will make that a reality for more families here. Governor Murphy will address these core principles in his video messaging at the conference, and we invite you to listen to the governor's remarks and use them as a springboard to full engagement with all that this conference has to offer. So with that, thank you, and I hope that everyone has a very rewarding conference.
Everybody, Governor Phil Murphy here. It is my honor to welcome all of you to the 2023 Governor's Conference on Housing and Economic Development. I wish I could be with you. I want to recognize the co-hosts of today's event, the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, and the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and their respective teams for organizing one of the leading housing and economic development conferences in the entire country. I also want to thank all of you for being here and for your commitment to moving New Jersey's economic, redevelopment, and affordable housing agenda forward. And as we reflect on that commitment and the work that we've already achieved together and all that remains to be done, we do so with the memory of our dear friend, Lieutenant Governor Sheila Y. Oliver, at the forefront of our minds. I am incredibly grateful for Sheila's nearly 6 years of leadership at the Department of Community Affairs, where she worked tirelessly to expand initiatives for affordable housing and local government services. Today, as we meet to take stock of the progress New Jersey has made in supporting housing affordability, and as we plan our next steps, we do so with Sheila's leadership and legacy as our guide. In the past few years, we have created the Affordable Housing Production Fund, the Aspire Tax Credit Program, and revised the legislative designation for NJRA-eligible municipalities. And this summer alone, I signed a 3-bill package advancing efforts to prioritize housing utilizing American Rescue Plan funds for the fiscal year 2024 budget. We added another $100 million to the Affordable Housing Production Fund, and we created a new $50 million workforce housing program. These initiatives, among several others, build on 5.5 years of investments in housing affordability, and they'll result in greater access to home ownership for New Jerseyans. And we know that's one of the most important drivers of wealth creation. This is the vision that Sheila and I shared. And thanks to her tireless years of leadership, we're making that vision a reality. Today, we are continuing to make our state stronger, fairer, and more affordable. Thanks to each and every one of you for your partnership as we move forward in making our state the next New Jersey. I wish you all the very best for what I know will be a successful conference. Thank you. May God bless Sheila Y. Oliver, and God bless each and every one of you.
Let's give him another round of applause. That's our governor. So Governor Murphy, in his video remarks, made frequent mention of our beloved Lieutenant Governor and former DCA Commissioner Sheila Y. Oliver. Despite her passing, Lieutenant Governor Oliver is still very much present in our minds, hearts, and actions. And you see it evident with so many people in the conference. I'm sure people have come up to you and, talked about, we call her affectionately the LG. People have come up to me, I have her button on, she's still with us. She embodied the work and heart of this 2-day gathering, quality housing that families can afford, vibrant neighborhoods that uplift people, small businesses that create sustainable jobs, and reliable social services available for people in times of need. And you should know that I worked very closely with her for this conference. Not one detail was not approved, reviewed by her, and there were some changes, but this conference is the embodiment of all of that work, not just with the LG&I, but with Stacey Sparrow, with all of the agency heads and the people that work for them. As a tribute to her life's work and legacy, we want to share a video about her life and public service career. The video is narrated by none other than Sheila Y. Oliver herself, our Lieutenant Governor. The video was first shown at her memorial service last month in Newark. It is compelling, motivational, and emotional, especially for people who knew, loved, and valued and worked with the LG, which includes all of you. We hope it inspires you to continue doing the work that you do to strengthen communities around New Jersey. Immediately following the video about our Lieutenant Governor, we will move into the plenary session, which touches on the work being done by the state agencies co-hosting this conference. Now, we're approaching the plenary session a little bit differently this time around. First, we're going to show a video that highlights the work of each one of our signature agencies, DCA, NJHMFA, NJEDA, and NJRA. And after the video ends, leaders of the state agencies who are seated here on the stage will talk in more detail about the projects through a discussion that I will facilitate. We hope that this new approach for the plenary is interesting and engaging for you because we wanted to show the work that we do because we know that our former commissioner, Lieutenant Governor Oliver, was first and foremost about the work and the communities and touching the hearts and lives of people. Thank you. We will now begin with the video about Lieutenant Governor Oliver now. We know that she is looking down on us, she's encouraging us, and she's very proud of the work that we're doing. So take it away.
I am absolutely a Jersey girl, and I don't pump gas. I am a native of Newark, New Jersey. The impact and the experience of being a young black girl growing up in Newark, it was the early 60s. I lived in a multicultural, multi-ethnic community. And I got exposed to the whole civil rights movement and what was going on at the time. And I began to have a heightened consciousness about what being African American, what being black in the United States is, and how you articulate issues and advocacy on behalf of the black community.
It's often said in some of the rooms that I sit in, if it's about us, it can't be done without us.
I would not have wanted to be born anything else than an African American woman. I think that it gives me a perspective, and it gives me a deeper understanding of all cultures and ethnicities. As a young person, I never thought I would get into politics or government. I wanted to be an archaeologist. I was an avid reader from the time I was probably 7, 8 years old. When I read about Egypt and the Nile and the cradle of civilization and the Sphinx and, the pharaohs, I thought, how great would it be for me to be able to go to Greece and Rome and Egypt and dig up old things. But very early on, I grasped fighting for social justice.
Shame on us that we can put forth an agenda to create and provide millions of dollars to the corporate sector in this state, but we aren't willing to step up and provide, on average, an additional $288 in the pockets of poor people in this state.
I read 2 books that influenced me heavily, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and then The Grapes of Wrath. And of course, A Tale of Two Cities talks about social justice. It talks about people being jailed. It talks about some people having everything and some people having nothing. Reading that book really framed for me what our society should be like in the United States. And that's when I really became an activist.
We want to make New Jersey a stronger and fairer economy for all families, not just families at the top, not just families in the middle, but families who often are the least of us. That is our commitment.
I was the first African American woman to be the Speaker of the House in New Jersey. There's something in the State House called a Speaker's Gallery, and there are either paintings or photographs of speakers from 1776 to the present. And I do get a thrill by walking through the Speaker's Gallery and seeing that in 2010 I was the woman that became the Speaker.
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the
of
duties
the office of Lieutenant Governor
of the office of Lieutenant Governor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I also have become the first African American woman to win a statewide office in New Jersey. And I became the first African American lieutenant governor in the state of New Jersey. The night that Governor Murphy and I had our victory celebration in Asbury Park, I said that I hope that little girls that were watching TV that night could see me standing on that stage and could know that they too could aspire to become a lieutenant governor or a governor. That is when I really began to realize that I do serve as a role model for people, and people can look at me and my life's journey and they can see that you can really do anything. You really can.
It has taken from our independence in 1776 until this moment for New Jersey to have a woman of color serving in a statewide elected office. I recognize that while these moments are historic, we make history not in the moment, but in what we do with it.
I've lived in the city of East Orange for over 40 years. When I see people in East Orange, they tell me how proud they are. I remember one woman in particular, and she came up to me and she said, "I didn't want to disturb you, but I know who you are. I just want to ask if I can hug you." And I told her yes, and we had an embrace. And she said, "I just want you to know how much you mean to me and my entire family." It's emotional. I feel emotional when those things happen to me. My mom, she goes to a senior center program. You know, she told me she's a star at the senior center because she's the mother of the lieutenant governor. And they tell her at the senior center, "I saw your daughter on TV last night, and oh, you must be proud of her. We just love her. We're so proud of her." And that is very fulfilling to me because at the end of the day, as Langston Hughes wrote in a poem, I do represent the hopes and the dreams of the slaves. And so when older Black adults who may have lived through Jim Crow or segregation or never got the opportunity to get the education that they wanted, when they see me, it's sort of fulfilling for them. Like, yes, it's me, but they feel like they're a piece of me. And I find that extremely emotionally humbling. My message is a message that I think I embraced from the late Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman to enter Congress. And Shirley Chisholm once said, "Don't be afraid to swim upstream when the current is going in a different direction." And I think that that is reflective of the path and the journey. I never bought into the concept that just because everyone else thought one thing, that it wasn't okay for me to think something else. I think that gets to be important for all of us, especially women who want to pursue careers and, you know, they want to make accomplishments, achievements. Just set your mind to what you want to do and be prepared. Expose yourself to different things. Eat different foods. Have friends from all different backgrounds. It makes you an enriched person, and it makes you better in no matter what field you go into. Those experiences are going to propel you into that direction. represented in our diverse state, someone within those groups has experienced homelessness.
My name is Linda Sessoms, and I live in Union County, Elizabeth, New Jersey. It did help me in my rent endeavors. It did help me to maintain my place to live most of all, which was greatly appreciated. And I'm thinking it's probably about the best program that I have encountered.
For the first time in over a decade, to the unprecedented proposed investment in creating more affordable housing opportunities for New Jerseyans. The governor is constructing a model for our state that can be replicated actually in states across the country.
To meet people where they are and help bring them along and uplift them.
I believe the way to tamper down the gap in intergenerational wealth is to help families become homeowners. Why? Because when that family becomes a homeowner, there now is an asset that can be passed along to the next generation.
Is said about, quote, low and moderate income housing. I like to call it working class housing because people leave this building every day to go out and try to earn a living, to take care of their families.
Governor Murphy has prioritized, and he has supported myself, the other professionals in DCA, the advocates, Melanie Walter over at the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency, and Leslie Anderson over at the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority to make certain that we are able to up and boost housing production in New Jersey. I am very proud to say that if we align all of our models in place, by the end of the Murphy administration, we will have produced 10,000 new affordable housing units in this state.
Certainly the greatest significance of this effort is in creating the affordable homes we need to truly turn New Jersey into the state of opportunity for literally thousands of individuals.
When Governor Murphy was sworn into office, he made that commitment from day one. We were going to get back on track. In this budget, he has gone the extra mile, and he is proposing an appropriation of $300 million of federal money, along with $30 million from state funds, to create a pipeline for municipalities to fulfill building affordable housing in their respective communities.
This fund will provide and aims to complete all of the viable Mount Laurel decision negotiations for every community across the state, and it will allow us to make housing, affordable housing, available in each municipality. Yes, which is very important.
NJADA has played a huge role in our success, and for any small businesses that are looking for resources or assistance through their growth process, highly recommend NJADA.
We used our grant funding from the NJEDA to purchase a whole bunch of new fixtures in the retail space and to purchase a whole bunch of equipment in the photography space, and it has completely changed the trajectory of our business.
Sustain and Serve has shown us that there are so many innovative ways to use government funding. We are able to provide money to restaurants, to nonprofits, to people in communities, and to do it efficiently, but in a way that serves their local needs. We've been able to be creative, we've been able to expand, and we've grown this program from a $2 million pilot to a $57 million program.
The Sustain and Serve New Jersey program has been a win-win-win for everyone involved. It's a win for us, a win for our patrons, and a win for the restaurants that we're helping to support.
Hi, my name is Leslie Anderson, and I am the President and CEO of the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority. Our charge was to provide support to New Jersey's most urbanized communities. Our responsibility and obligation was to create financial products and technical assistance that would improve the quality of life in New Jersey's urban centers. So we are now at a place and a space where we have more financial resources to undertake more projects. It's not the money that's going to make the difference for what we can do in the community, it's our people. When everybody said no, we said yes. We were just committed to being there and getting the resources into the community.
Let's give them all a round of applause. So, powerful women, it gives me pleasure to serve as your moderator once again. So let's have a conversation. And I'd like to start with you, Assistant Commissioner Winter, if I can. Sure. Seeing that video with Linda Sessoms and hearing her speak about how DCA basically helped her stay in her home, and at a time when we know that homelessness is rampant, DCA did what it could do to help one person. And I'm sure that that's not all that we have done. So could you share with all of us the ways that DCA has helped to create new housing to be more affordable through rental and other assistance programs within the department?
Sure. I think as you saw in the video, we are creating new affordable housing through the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, the National Housing Trust Fund, the Home Production Fund, a variety of ways. And I think one of the other things that we really bring is looking at providing affordability at every price point, including for people who are at the lowest area of income. And I think looking at all of the ways that we can use our data to drive policy and partner with others to make sure that we can help people address housing instability, address homelessness. So for instance, through our Office of Eviction Prevention, through our most recent program there, which started this May, we've already helped more than 4,500 families avoid eviction. And the typical family, yes, that's very good. The typical family we are serving there is headed by a woman of color and is paying almost 60% of her income toward rent. So we can see how that lack of affordability is really leading to that instability. We also are working with our Office of Homelessness Prevention, which really serves as our kind of innovative laboratory for trying out new approaches, for looking at what's happening on the ground and elevating the great practices. And also looking at the data every single day so that we're reacting not just at a point in time, but every single day to conditions on the ground. And we're using that to impact our policies, not just specifically in programs that are tagged homeless, but for things like our Housing Choice Voucher Program, where this year so far, we've issued vouchers to more than 4,000 people new to our program. All of them are either veterans or people homeless or at risk. And we're using the data and the information we've gathered to also provide landlord incentives, housing navigation, additional case management to help people not just get a voucher, but get into the housing that they need. And we're also, as you heard from Linda in our video, we are trying to talk to the people that we're serving. We're trying to listen and partner with people so that we really understand what is needed. And we're doing that throughout all of our programs. I think one program that has a long history of that is our Neighborhood Revitalization Tax Credit Program, which really starts with DCA funding the community to develop a plan where neighbors tell us what they need. We don't tell them, they tell us. And then they're able to enter into the ability to receive funding from private corporations in return for a tax credit for that corporation. So a really great public and private partnership that's based around and centered around what people in our communities need. And I just want to mention one last partnership that we've really just started that we're very excited about, which is going to provide housing for people at the very lowest rung of our economic ladder. And that is a partnership with the Department of Human Services Division of Medicaid. They are dedicating $100 million in HCBS ARP funds to DCA. We are marrying those funds with our Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and we are creating a fund to produce, for the capital production, and as well as for capitalized operating support for new units for people who are making Medicaid recipients, who are making 20% or less of the area median income. These are the folks that are, in a lot of ways, the very hardest for us to find housing for because they have so few resources. This is going to create a long-term resource to develop housing and to make that housing sustainable for them long-term. And I could talk about all of this all day if you gave me the chance, but I know that I can't. Kim is giving me the eye that says that's enough. But go into your app for the conference because our staff are talking in panels all day about this. And visit our little table out front, and we will give you lots of information. Looking forward to working with you on it.
Thank you. Thank you, Janelle. What I heard from Assistant Commissioner Winter, what kept ringing out was partnerships and listening to the community. And so that makes us turn to our CEO, Director Walter. So in the video that you presented, we kept hearing the state of opportunity and building more affordable homes and how affordability and availability in New Jersey is key. So can you speak about the ways HMFA use federal and state dollars to make housing more available and affordable in New Jersey? And if you can, could you talk a little bit about how you help developers navigate the current market change?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. In the last couple of years, we've all confronted changes in interest rates, changes in construction processes and timelines that have made it a particularly challenging, exciting, but also difficult time for the production of affordable housing. When everything gets more expensive, the things that fall by the wayside, the things that already exist on the margins, can be even more difficult to accomplish. We have witnessed families that have been in apartments for years see their rent go up 10%, 12%, 15% a year for 2 and 3 years on end. Their incomes weren't going up that much. So from our perspective, it was critical to advance housing production. When I was at the Murphy Oliver administration, the governor, our lieutenant governor, knew that to make progress, we had to be building. And we couldn't allow that to fall by the wayside just because the economic climate was tough. And so the Affordable Housing Production Fund was created as a first bulwark in that effort. That fund received $305 million of federal ARP dollars and $30 million allocation from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to support a deeper dive on affordability. So we're talking about most of that housing being built at 60% of AMI, but pushing deeper with supportive housing, special needs opportunities, and community resources, things that include child care facilities, support for OT and PT for veterans, support for homeless individuals. And so what we've been able to do is leverage our federal resources, which are the vast majority of the dollars going into our production subsidy programs right now, with a small amount of state dollars. And our average leveraging was 17 to 1, but actually at this point it's closer to 32 to 1 federal to state dollars between the tax credit and the dollars going in. So we're using those federal dollars to stretch production further. Right now we've committed about $245 million across the various programs to new production, which has kept the ball moving forward at a time when production around the country has slowed. We have partnered with our development community when there were problems due to interest rates, when there were problems due to construction costs, when we saw the need for more specialized housing to address the needs of the homeless, many people who became homeless during COVID. And when we saw vouchers sitting there unable to be utilized because there weren't units available, that's where we pushed. And so we pushed into every community that we can to build affordable housing, to rehab affordable housing, and to make sure that we're producing additional units in every community so everyone has the choice about where they want to live. And we're also making sure that seniors have the opportunity to age in place. We're focusing on home rehab with new initiatives this year, but we've also focused on producing 55-plus housing across the state of New Jersey so that people who've grown up in a community, raised their kids in that community, and worked in that community through their whole life now have the opportunity to age with dignity and grace in that community, surrounded by their loved ones and surrounded by the community that they helped grow. We're very proud of the successes that we've seen, and in the year ahead, we intend to continue to advance. We received substantial allocations in this year's budget for workforce and housing and urban preservation that will support further initiatives in this regard and should produce an additional 2,000 to 3,000 units of housing in the year ahead. And remember, every one of those units, because we tend to use that word a lot in this space, is a home. That's 2,000 to 3,000 new additional homes.
Thank you so much. CEO Walton. I'm glad you talked about the distinctions. Let's give her a round of applause, and we share in your success. I heard you speak about use of federal dollars and also about being particular with helping seniors and helping others. So I want to take that same motif and come over to NJEDA with our senior management team, Ty Cooper. So thank you so much, Ty, for coming right in. And in the video from NJEDA, we saw how EDA was creative, how you thought of innovative ways to use federal and state dollars. And I just wanted to know if you could talk about, because we were primarily speaking about families and homes, but with you we want to talk more about small businesses. So could you please share with us how EDA has helped small businesses, especially in light of the pandemic and post-pandemic?
No, thank you so much. First of all, super happy to be here on behalf of our CEO, Tim Sullivan, and to the EDA staff that actually woke up this morning. Thank you for also being here as well. I will say this, EDA has done a phenomenal job in our pivot towards supporting small businesses. Since the Murphy administration, we've increased our support of small businesses 11-fold. Just to date, I have to mention a few things. One, through the Main Street program, which is through our Economic Recovery Act, we have been able to process over 7,000 applications and given out over $127 million in grants and loans to support small businesses. A lot of times administrations talk about small businesses being the backbone of, of the state of the nation. Put your money where your mouth is. And that's what I think all of us have really done, whether it comes to affordable housing, when it comes to our partners over at NJRA, when it comes to small businesses. So that's something that we are incredibly intentional about. Those videos mean something. Hearing true accounts from people who were suffering during COVID, receive grants or loans that they never would have had access to, but for funding from our agencies, makes a life-changing difference. COVID, I feel like we were in emergency response mode. Now we're in recovery and thrive mode. One of the other programs that was incredibly important during COVID and even now was Sustain and Serve. Sustain and Serve served its 5 millionth meal this past year. So 5 million meals that went to folks that were food insecure. The program was allocated initially, as Tara said, $2 million, but it grew to $57 million. And from that support, we were able to support over 450 restaurants and nonprofits. This is economic development in motion. This is economic development when you think about what we're really trying to do when it comes to closing disparities. This is inclusive development, and this is also diversity in motion when it comes to economic development. A few other things to mention, because again, EDA has done a phenomenal pivot. I know Paul Seppi is here somewhere who's leading our sectors, but there's always so much work we're doing around innovation, the innovation economy, with the launch of our Evergreen Fund, manufacturing, cannabis. EDA is now focusing also on cannabis, providing grants up to $250,000 for small startup businesses. So again, putting our money where our mouth is to help those that are most vulnerable, but also with new businesses. EDA is also focusing on the arts. Arts is an economic engine. We are proud to have $10 million as a pilot program supporting both Atlantic City and in Newark, New Jersey. It's going to be a statewide program, but recognizing, as Lieutenant Governor Tahisha Way has under the Secretary of State's office, the importance of arts being an economic driver. And again, we're still doing more in offshore wind and in film, but EDA is not a one-trick pony. It's not just development in real estate, which is amazing, and encompasses such a broad array of work that we are proud of, standing behind, and really focusing on these economic security initiatives. So happy to be here, and again, proud of the work we're doing as a team, and really as partners across the board in the state.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you. And so, Ty spoke about small businesses, and we started our conversation about one single individual and showing how we can help one person that can change the trajectory of her life. And then we moved into building affordable homes, and then into businesses, and we're kind of right back to where we started, because if you looked at the video closely for NJRA, you heard the CEO, Leslie Anderson, said that's people that make the difference. So we know that NJRA supports the most urbanized communities by creating financial products, technical assistance, and providing more financial resources for sustainability. Could you talk to us a little bit about the ways that people made the difference?
Thank you for that question, Kim.
You're welcome.
And I want to also acknowledge my partners. None of this happens without partnership. We are not alone in our efforts as we work hard continuously to help communities that need our support. I do want to pause for 1 second and say that the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority was established in 1996 with $9 million. I was talking to a member of my staff recently, and she said she worked in the legislature at the time, and she said we were supposed to last for a year. Our tenacity said that communities were relying on us tremendously to support. And what, Kim, we've been able to do is when we focus on people and the needs of people, and Melanie, I was so happy to hear you say homes, right? It's not units, it's a house. And it might not be a house for us, but it's a house for a person who didn't have one prior to getting our resources. And I think when you focus on the needs of people, you get to the point where you can address the need. You can get to the point where a job translates into the sustainability of a family. That's right. Janelle, you mentioned head single household. I grew up like that. My mom was the breadwinner in the house, and she worked a lot. I was a latchkey kid that had a key around my neck, and I came into the home after school with my sister. It is important that you have somewhere safe to go, and that drives me in terms of the work we do at the Redevelopment Authority. Where our focus is right now, and I do want to thank, and I'm going to look up and thank her, I'm going to thank the Lieutenant Governor for giving us the $25 million. And remember, let me just go back for a second and say, the NJRA started with $9 million. And we got maybe 2 more appropriations as we moved along. But the Lieutenant Governor, when she was elected, said to me, we're going to strengthen the Redevelopment Authority. We're going to make it stronger. And I have to be candid and say that some of our strength was taken away because of who we served. We serve people of color, we serve communities of color, and we serve people who are poor. And they don't have a voice, and they don't have a space, and they don't have a place in the room. So we were always working diligently to do that. So we received $25 million. We created the Affordable Housing Support Initiative that we actually want to name after the Lieutenant Governor to keep her legacy alive. Thank you. And we're going to use those resources to do a few things. Create affordable housing opportunities. We have to leverage with HMFA. We have to leverage with DCA. We have to leverage with EDA in order to make this work and to make it effective. So that's what we want to do, is create and stabilize these neighborhoods. Some of what we see that happens in urban communities happens because the neighborhood isn't stabilized with home ownership. And don't misunderstand, rental units are important, but what stabilizes communities is when you have a vested interest in that community and you own your property. And as much as we want to say people live in cities, they don't. They live in neighborhoods. And the neighborhoods matter to them, so we want to use it for that purpose. What we also want to do is identify those developers and build them up so that they can ultimately qualify for low-income housing tax credits. So we are focused on smaller projects, smaller developers, and it may be BIPOC developers, but that's how we want to utilize those resources because they're out there and they need our support, and together we are so much better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And guess what? Under this new approach, we're right on time. So we're going to ask each one of our dynamic panelists to give us some parting words. So I'm going to start with Melanie Walter. I'll go to Janelle Winter, Ty Cooper, and we'll end again with Leslie Anderson. So we'll start with you, Melanie.
One of the most important places anyone can be is around their kitchen table with their family. That's where you make decisions. It's where you figure out your budget. It's where you do homework. When you're planning to retire, you're thinking about your finances. You're thinking about the future for your kids going to college. When you don't know where you're going to be at night, when you don't know if you have that kitchen table waiting to come home to, That right there is a fundamental level of insecurity that is almost impossible to get past. So when we can provide that, whether that be a homeownership opportunity through a first-generation homebuyer program, through a first-time homebuyer program, through one of our rental programs, the creation of new apartments across our state, what we're doing is creating that stable foundation for individuals to grow and to thrive and to build a life. And this team here thinks about every facet of that person's day, where they wake up, where they go to bed at night, where they go to work, where they go to school. And it's that kind of holistic approach to individuals and to communities that will ensure that New Jersey is growing in a way that supports all families and all people across our state. So it's something that we are proud of and embrace as a team, and are looking forward to working with all of you to accomplish in the year ahead.
Thank you, Janelle.
I think one thing I think about as I was listening to everyone speak, watching the videos, is that we have an abundance of so many things, of resources, of expertise, of dedication, of commitment, of hope. And I think that one of the things that maybe was not present in the past was that feeling of abundance. There was always a feeling of scarcity about affordable housing and homelessness. We have to grab whatever crumb we can and be happy with it. And it was all about how do we do that? Now we have an abundance not only of those things, but also of data and of information and knowledge, and we get that through our partnerships. And I was just thinking as I listened even about home ownership, and I'm thinking, man, I've got 25,000 voucher holders living in communities across the state who can be in home ownership opportunities. Where are we building those homes? Let's match them up. And so I think as you're looking at your projects, as you're looking at what you want to do, please remember that. Like, now is a time. It doesn't always feel like that, but now is a time of that abundance of so many of the things we need. Let's use them. We never know what the cycle brings us. We never know when the window closes, but the window is open right now. So let's go through the window.
Just in closing, I will say, and I'm reminded, from the videos from the Honorable Lieutenant Governor, but we're public servants. At the beginning and the end of the day, it is our job to serve the public, to serve the people. That has to always be at the forefront of everything we do. So the resources that we come into are for the public. And so we have to be good stewards of that funding, but also utilize it in a way where we're helping everyone from the bottom to the top to make sure that they're seen, to make sure that they're heard, to make sure that they're valued, and also, because we're still EDA, to make sure there's a good economic return. But again, it really truly does come down to being public servants and making sure that we are doing our damnedest every single day to ensure that we're helping as many people as possible.
I love it. I absolutely adore getting the last word. So what I want to say is to the audience, they've captured everything, my partners in crime. And let's just applaud right now this girl power. Come on. Look at this. Right? I think I'm the veteran up here. When I started out, man, it did not look like this at all. But what I want to say to our partners in the community, every day, we need you. Come to us with your ideas. Push us. Fight us in a nice way. But come to us, because as Janelle said, this is an opportunity. I want to say that sometimes in grief, what can come out of this is tremendous success. We are grieving up here. We miss the Lieutenant Governor, her guidance, her wisdom. But this is the time to come and say, really honor her legacy. That's right. Really step up and be who she wanted us to be. So we're your partner. We're not your adversary. You heard it today. We think like you think. And sometimes we don't implement it just right, but come and talk to us about it. Let's come together. There's so much in this country right now that separates us. But in New Jersey, let's be the standard bearer. Let's continue to be the state who we are, and let's come together to build a better and fairer New Jersey.
Thank you so much. And what I got out of moderating and and being with this dynamic group of people is the word intersectionality. And you know, Dr. King talked about that when he talked about the inescapable network of mutuality tied to a single garment of destiny. So what impacts DCA impacts HMFA, impacts EDA, impacts NJRA. So we hope that even though you witness the intersectionality between the agencies, it also includes you. So our success is intricately linked to your success. So reach out to us, talk to us, engage us, you know, ignite us, excite us, fight with us, but do it respectfully. And let's make it a stronger and fairer economy for all New Jerseyans where this state can thrive. So on behalf of all the panel, our acting commissioner, I just want to say thank you so much for this open plenary session. It was something new, it was something exciting, and we hope that you felt the same way. So thank you very much, and thank you. And we're done. Do we have to take the picture?